Indiana stays in the family. Mike Woodson, an assistant coach for the Knicks, is going to be the choice for the Hoosiers. He was a star player for Indiana from 76 to 80, playing for Bob Knight, averaged 20 points a game for his career with the Hoosiers. Played 11 seasons in the NBA. Now, as for coaching, his entire coaching pedigree is in the NBA. Longtime NBA assistant. Atlanta Hawks head coach from 04 to 2010. Win total increased every year. Knicks head coach in 2012 and 2013. Made the playoffs both times. And now, as I mentioned, currently an assistant with the Knicks. He is 63 years old. All right, Gary Parrish jumping aboard on the phone. Let's get his reaction to Mike Woodson, now the head man for the Hoosiers.
Well, I think we can safely say this was obviously not the initial plan. I'm not sure you pay $10 million to make Archie Miller go away, blow up your roster to replace him with a coach who's never worked on a college campus. So this is not the initial plan, but it doesn't mean that it can't work out. I think the school has done a really smart thing in also hiring Thad Matta, the terrific former Ohio State coach, to be an associate AD and work hand in hand with the Indiana staff. That is undeniably a positive. And again, I think a lot of this can be tied to the success that Juwan Howard has had at Michigan. When I talked to somebody connected to Indiana, a few days ago, they, without me prompting them, consistently brought up how well Juwan Howard has done at Michigan, how well a former player has done at Michigan. And when I combine that with the fact that there was growing speculation in recent days that Indiana, might be wanting to try to attach itself to a former player who really understood the culture of Hoosier basketball, by the time we got here today, not that big of a surprise. But I promise you, if on the day that Archie Miller was fired by Indiana, you told Indiana fans this is the way the next couple of weeks would unfold, that they probably would not have been thrilled with it. But now here we are, and if you're an Indiana fan, you hope for the best, and I hope I'm being clear. There is a path where this works. I never rule out anything, but again, it obviously could not have possibly have been the initial plan.
No, I get you, and I think you're right with the Juwan Howard effect sort of permeating through the conference. And we do point out, look, the guy coached 6 years for Atlanta. Every year he was there, the win total went up. He went to the Knicks as a head coach. He was there 2 years. They made the playoffs both years. When he has been the head guy, it's worked. It just hasn't happened in college yet. We shall see. Is Indiana still a great job? Right? At one point in time, it was Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA, Kansas, and Indiana. In the current landscape, I mean, it's Bloomington. They haven't been great for, a number of years. Is it still a great job?
I think it's a great job, but I'm not sure it is what it used to be, which doesn't mean it can't become again what it used to be. I can just tell you from talking to coaches throughout the industry that there are some guys who, I don't want to say are scared of the job, but just like, hey, my life's pretty good where I'm at. I wouldn't need something like that. Because when it is going well, you've got a whole state of basketball-crazed fans in your corner. But when it turns on you, it turns pretty badly. And I know that it got ugly for Tom Crean at the end. It got ugly for Archie Miller at the end. It's really gotten ugly for everybody who's had to try to follow Bob Knight at the end. And it doesn't mean that Indiana fans shouldn't have high expectations. They should. But, there is a perception among, college coaches that, if you really want to be right in the middle of it, a little bit like the Kentucky job, then go to Indiana. If you kill it, it'll be the time of your life and you'll have a chance to win national titles. But anything short of killing it is going to turn into a really, really, nasty situation. And there are some coaches, honestly, some candidates for this job who I can tell you just weren't that interested in that.
Yeah, no, I get it. Look, they think it's a 10 job. Is it still a 10 job is a fair question because for a long time this was on a scale of 1 to 10. This job was a 10. I still think it's a great job. I'm not sure it's a 10 anymore is my only point. Gary Parrish, well done. Appreciate the time. All right, more on the breaking news. Here's Chip Patterson. Look, Mike Woodson, I've always been surprised that he hasn't gotten more opportunities in the NBA. Was in Atlanta 6 straight years, the team got better. Where are they now? Went to the Knicks 2 years, 2 playoff runs. Where are they now? He had to come back as an assistant this year. But there's not a lot of college experience. In fact, there's none in terms of coaching. But he was a great player. Indiana stays in the family. He played for Bob Knight. Your reaction to Mike Woodson getting the job here?
Continuing the trend that we no longer have to apply some of our same college experience requirements, because this is something that we've seen on the football side and it's something that we've seen on the basketball side. The hire of Herm Edwards at Arizona State was received in a way that was either not taken seriously or outright mocked, and he has done a tremendous job being able to level up there. Juwan Howard at Michigan, Penny Hardaway at Memphis. I just think that we have to understand that running the modern college program at the highest level, it's going to require a little bit more than just being able to say that I've got this long history. So I like that in the sense of it being able to change our expectations of what a coach looks like, because it's the Indiana job. It's supposed to be one of the top jobs in college basketball. What does that mean? We're supposed to look at the top coaches, the Chris Beard, the Nate Oates, the Eric Musselman, and we're supposed to sit around and they're going to have to make their fans sweat. And that's not necessarily what happened here, because Indiana is doing 2 things that I think are really smart. Number one, in bringing in Mike Woodson, you've got somebody that understands the program, can be able to be a connection to those glory days, which are continuing to be decades and decades in the past. And then number 2, bringing in Thad Matta, I think is absolutely huge, at least in terms of being able to be someone who can help with the running the program. And Thad Matta even gets a chance. Remember, because we were wondering if he would get back into coaching. He gets a chance to still have his hands on one of the top programs in all of college basketball and be part of the building process for the Hoosiers to try and get back to success. So I also, and finally, I think it's a great opportunity for Mike Woodson, right? Because you mentioned that it's a coach who has success. You feel like he hasn't gotten the kind of recognition that he might deserve after what he did at Atlanta and after what he did at New York. I think that Mike Woodson would love nothing more than if the thing that he was most known for as a head coach was bringing Indiana basketball back to a championship contention kind of level. So I like the move. I consider it savvy. And I'll add one piece to this. I do think it's significant that this announcement comes the day after Loyola's season ends, because while I mentioned some other names, Nate Oates and Eric Musselman, coaches that are still alive in the NCAA tournament, it is the day after Porter Moser no longer is the head coach at Loyola Chicago. So I would imagine that he was somewhere on that list of desired candidates. And whether that decision was explicit, whether it was made through back channels, I do not know. Gary Parrish is really our insider man in terms of figuring out those coaching search details. But Indiana must have understood one way or another that Loyola Chicago's coach Porter Moser was not going to be coming to Bloomington. And so they move with this plan, again, with Mike Woodson, but also Thad Matta. And I think that 1-2 punch is going to be really good for Indiana basketball.
Should be fun to see. Again, the Juwan Howard effect, where you get a great player coming back, willing to embrace expectations of the fan base and of the people associated with that school. Chip, great job.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.